Hey YouTube, thanks for stopping by. Today I'm here to tell you all about Empire Strips Back, a Star Wars Burlesque parody. If you like Star Wars, this is a must attend. If you like Burlesque, this is a must attend. If you happen to like neither, it still remains a highly enjoyable experience, and so I'll recommend it anyway. I'm actually not a big Star Wars fan. Those who have known me for a while may know that the only reason I tried getting into it was for the purposes of integrating it into a space-themed Minecraft server that I'm working on. I've still yet to watch the movies in the proper order, but I am so far a huge fan of a few of the Disney Plus shows. As I get more into it, perhaps I'll make more videos about it. But I am well versed enough to know that this show, this performance, does a great job of bringing everything together for both the casual fans and the diehards, while also just being a spectacular production. So let's talk about it. Empire Strips Back presents itself in the form of a series of skits that take after Star Wars while also relating them to the real world, such as one where a resident of Tatooine is giving a hover vehicle a car wash while getting wet and flaunty in the process. A segment we've seen in film and television plenty of times, but we love it in this case because the Star Wars element breathes new life into it. One of the things that will surprise you about The Empire Strikes Back is that it's not just a bunch of performers dancing in partial Star Wars costumes. It's a full-on mini-production with perfectly executed lights, visual effects, sound effects, and even elaborate props such as a life-size Jabba the Hutt, a live R2-D2, and as mentioned earlier, a hover vehicle. When you look at everything, the costume performers are just the sprinkles. While I'm on the topic, I also have to say that even the costumes exceed expectations. We all expected the simple outfits such as girls in white wearing stormtrooper heads and Han Solo, very easy outfits to recreate. But then some of the outfits were above and beyond, such as the female C-3PO, Admiral Akbar, Jawas, Yoda, the list goes on. Even Emperor Palpatine and all of his parts were pretty impressive. The MC mentioned that a strength of the Star Wars fandom is its ability to bring generations together, and that's exactly what this show does with its themes. One of the ways in which they make it relatable to the real world is in its song choice. And there's a song in the show for everyone, which means there's no such thing as being too young of an adult to attend or too old of an adult to attend. Which brings me to the genres of each skit. Some of them are just pure fun, some are bold, others are satire, and at certain points they either slow things down a bit for a more serious, intimate approach. Other times, they liven things back up in exciting manners. At least half of these skits will allow you to forget that it's a burlesque show. Some will flat out remind you, some way more than others. On the topic of it being a burlesque show, it lives up to the name by being entertainment-based, instead of something more erotic or lustful. Yes, the entire thing is not safe for work due to the nature of burlesque, and there is a little something here and there, but the skits are so engaging that it's never a significant portion of the show. It's more like the cherry on top for when it does happen, if you're into that kind of thing. Now let's talk about the bonuses. Concessions, photo ops, and merch, things of that nature. The concessions, where they sell snacks and drinks, is nothing too all out, but the bartenders were very polite and friendly. In fact, they were so laid back that they almost felt like attending to the event just like us, which is awesome. There was only one photo op, which was the typical wallpaper backdrop with the event's logo on it, decorated by a few professionally taken photos of their burlesque models. I know this might be a big ask, but I wonder if they could enhance this by adding a few of the burlesque characters. Maybe not the same exact people as those who performed, especially not any of the less clothed ones, but that would certainly be a way to make this more immersive for the audience and leave them with more to take away from the experience. And going off script a bit, I just came up with an idea on the spot. There also should be, items like props. When I did the Minecraft experience, that photo op had a sword, a torch, a poppy, things you could hold and pose with, the zombie stand, things like that. Plenty of photo ops like that. There should be things like lightsabers. When I took my photo in front of the wallpaper, someone else offered to let us use their dual-bladed, double-edged lightsabers. There was a worker for the event standing in front of the wallpaper, holding lightsabers to lighten things up a bit. Nothing crazy. So I think there could be more of that, you know, maybe some stands. So that's what I recommend. Make the photo op a little bit more. As for the merch, this is definitely a strong point. It's not just lazy stuff like a shirt and hoodie that says Empire Strips Back. They have lightsabers, calendars, even panties. I was so tempted to buy a pair for my +1. Each shirt that does Empire Strips Back, it has like a flattering design on it instead of it just being the logo. Before these guys were known for their burlesque show, they were also very widely known for their magazine called Wookiee Erotica. So yeah, the merch, definitely not something you want to sleep on. So if you decide to attend the show while it's in your city, that's definitely something you want to check out, because I'm pretty sure I'm only scratching the surface of what the merch then is like. On to the critiques. My first critique would be the seating arrangement. It goes by zone instead of by seat, and I wasn't exactly a fan of that. Customers pay to sit in a certain section, and as one might assume, the price is higher based on the distance from the stage, but at the same time, it's first come first serve for those sections. So you could pay to sit in the closest section, but also end up in the worst part of that section, which could diminish your experience depending on who you're surrounded by and what venue you're at. I would consider that before spending extra money to sit in the Emperor Zone. And here's a personal anecdote. To find our section, we had to look for the usher that was holding a specific colored lightsaber, but once the show started, the lightsabers went off, as did all the other lights in the auditorium. So if you aren't there well in advance, you're going to have a hard time tracking down what seats are left. Showing up right on time isn't even going to cut it either, because you'll get caught up in the impossible mission to make it to a seat as the show is starting. The simplest solution, in my opinion, would be to sell spots on a seat-by-seat basis. My second critique is the MC. He wasn't bad by any means. He was good at engaging with the fans, making us laugh, and bringing us all together in terms of both Star Wars and burlesque. His tone and filter matched accordingly. However, between skits, he kept making it about him, which for me got old pretty quickly, especially since most of it was self-deprecating humor. You see, this would work if it was some celebrity MC that most, if not everyone, is familiar with, but this seemed to be more of an up-and-comer, or someone at the very least trying to climb the ladder. So every time he made it about himself, I just wasn't as engaged, because, I don't know him, and I was here for the burlesque show. It's like going to a stand-up special for someone you didn't ask to see, but that's who you're given, and you gotta deal with it, at least until the next skit begins. Then you get a break. Perhaps he should have told his stories from a third-person perspective. But again, the guy wasn't bad. He was still funny. I wouldn't say he missed. And most notably, he gave everyone that was a part of the show their flowers, including the audience, by asking the right questions that would make each demographic feel recognized. I just don't think centering his role as an MC around himself is ideal for something like this. But this is only a factor in the Houston 2025 run, and chances are it'll be someone with a completely different style in your region. This video is sponsored by the Empire Strips Back, whose press team were happy to provide me with the tickets for the purposes of covering the show, but also it's sponsored by Magic Wardrobes as well, who provided me with the Moff Gideon costume that I wore to the event. It's very elaborate, has all the pieces, and each one is very detailed. Plus, it's comfortable. There are some parts of the costume that I wish I could wear every day. Hell, I might, who knows. With the link in the description, you can also enjoy this costume while you give your best impression of Giancarlo Esposito. You have something I want. Helmet not included. You can check out Magic Wardrobes more broadly and explore their entire catalog, which does include many Star Wars characters and sabers, but goes far beyond that. From all forms of cosplay, film, TV, anime, and games, along with gothic, medieval, cyberpunk, lingerie, and many accessories. Go see what they've got going on, because everyone's got at least one thing on there that they'd be dying to get their hands on. Just be sure to use my discount code SPY10 for $10 off.
So,
What'd you think of the show?
That was awesome. Fantastic.
What'd you think of that giant Jabba?
Oh,
Who knew he could rap?
Whoever was driving that puppet was awesome because I believed the jump was rapping. I believed that the jump was rapping.
And who knew that Biggie was the best person, the best song choice for that character? It felt locked in right perfectly.
I know.
Whoever came up with it was
And the special appearance by Yoda at the end, so many surprises.
I did not expect to hear the rapper select tonight, I'll tell you that. Like, that's...
Well, what was your ranking on a scale of 1 to 10?
10.
All right, y'all hear that? Y'all hear that?
All
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Empire Strips Back. I definitely rate it a 10. My two criticisms are very minor and certainly do not and should not take away from everything great that there is about this perfectly executed Star Wars themed burlesque show. I'll leave their website along with their socials in the description so that you can all get in the loop on upcoming shows and tours. Thank you all for watching. Until next time, goodbye.